The pickup time read 2:48 a.m. when Tyler Reeves pulled to the curb at Ashford and Mercer, the rain a steady hiss against the windshield.
No talking. Just drive.
She climbed into the back seat without a word, her face a gaunt mask in the rearview mirror.
Not a request, a condition.
He shifted into drive and pulled away from the empty corner, the orange streetlight shrinking behind them. The GPS displayed a route to a quiet suburb 20 minutes out. The woman sat rigid, her silence an unwelcome passenger. Rain drummed on the roof, a hollow rhythm that should have been filled by small talk.
Something about this ride already felt off, but asking would break the rule.
In the rear view, her eyes caught his for a moment, unblinking, unreadable. Tyler gripped the wheel tighter and focused on the wet road, the silence a heavy weight pressing down on the sedan. The minutes stretched like wet wool, heavy and suffocating. Tyler kept his eyes on the road, but his mind was behind him. Another glance in the rear-view mirror confirmed it. She hadn't moved a fraction of an inch.
Not a blink, not a breath loud enough to hear.
Her face was a mask carved from bone, the streetlights sliding across her eyes without changing their emptiness.
She's waiting for something, but what?
The city fell behind them, the glare of neon giving way to the pitch of outer streets. No more other cars.
20 minutes out here feels like an hour when you are alone with a stranger.
Tyler's fingers cramped around the steering wheel. He flexed them, but the tension refused to leave. The GPS voice announced the next turn, but it felt obscene in the silence. In the mirror, her eyes were still waiting, still unblinking. The dashboard clock read 3:02 a.m. Tyler's eyes flicked the GPS. 14 minutes to go.
Almost halfway, and she hasn't made a sound. Not a cough, not a sigh.
The rain answered for her, hammering the roof in angry bursts. The wipers fought a losing battle. In the mirror, the woman remained motionless, her face a pale oval in the dimness. They crossed into a stretch of road with no streetlights, just the headlights carving a tunnel through the dark.
This silence is intentional. She's not just quiet, she's demanding quiet.
The GPS beeped softly, marking the halfway point. The route line blinked, stubbornly blue.
Once we pass the halfway mark, there's no turning back. Not without her permission.
The downpour turned violent, sheets of water slamming into the windshield. The sedan shuddered. For the first time, the woman shifted. A subtle lean forward, as if the halfway point had woken something. The woman leaned closer, her breath disturbingly close to the back of his neck. In the mirror, her face filled the glass, inches from his own reflection.
She's right there. If I turn, I'll see her.
Take the next left, not the GPS route.
That's not the plan. That's nowhere near the destination. She's changing everything.
The intersection appeared out of the rain, a dark, unmarked turn. Tyler's hands hesitated on the wheel.
Now, please.
He swung the car left, tires sluicing through standing water. The GPS blared a protest, then fell silent.
Why am I doing this? Because she said please. No, because her voice left no room for no.
The sedan plunged into a residential street lined with dead trees, the headlights swallowing the darkness in shallow gulps. The GPS recalculated, lost. Only the rain and the woman's quiet presence remained. The detour now irreversible.
Turn right at the next street, then the next left.
Every turn feels like a step further into a trap with a silent door.
She guided him through a maze of unlit corners, the houses dark and withdrawn. The road ended at a cul-de-sac. Ahead, a dark sedan sat in a driveway, headlights dead.
There. Pull in behind the other car.
Another car? This was premeditated. She planned all of this from the start.
He guided the sedan behind the other car, the headlights sweeping across its dark, rain-streaked trunk. He shifted into park. The engine idled, a low thrum against the overwhelming quiet. Rain hammered the roofs of both cars, drowning out any other sound in the empty cul-de-sac.
Now what? I am parked behind a stranger's car in a dead-end street with a silent passenger.
The older woman's hand found the door latch. the click echoing in the silence. She pushed the door open, rain lashing into the back seat. Then she was gone, stepping out into the storm. Tyler watched through the rear view. As she walked to the other car, a dark shape moving through the gray downpour.
Not a single look back. She knew this moment was coming.
The other car's door opened from the inside, and a younger woman, impossibly identical, stepped out.
The same bone structure, the same eyes, but she's younger.
She walked to Tyler's car with the same unhurried gait, pulled open the rear door, and slid inside.
Keep going. Same address.
No explanation. No acknowledgement that anything strange just happened.
Tyler shifted into drive and pulled away, the other car swallowed by the rain behind them. The younger woman settled into the back seat without a word, her face a perfect replica of the one before.
It's like the first passenger shed 20 years and got back in.
His mouth opened to demand what this was, but the words lodged in his throat.
She invited the silence. Breaking it now feels like walking into a trap.
The younger woman stared ahead, her hands folded motionless in her lap.
She's not going to offer anything. She's waiting for me to finish the ride.
Tyler's hands tightened on the wheel, the route line on the GPS pulsing with each second.
Just get to the destination. Don't ask. Don't engage.
They drove in renewed silence. The rain, a constant roar that filled the space between them.
Whatever this is, I am in the middle of it now, and there's no easy exit.
The silence in the car had evolved into something heavier, a presence that felt watchful and deliberate.
Twins? Family resemblance? No, this is too exact. The same face, just younger. There's no explaining that.
He glanced at the GPS. 10 minutes to go. The destination waited like a question he didn't want to answer.
I could pull over, end the ride. But what then? Strand her here? She might not let me leave.
His grip tightened on the wheel as he imagined the confrontation, the unknown weight of her reaction.
This is my car. I make the rules, but that doesn't feel true anymore.
In the rear view, the younger woman's eyes met his for a brief moment. They were the same unblinking stare.
Stop it. Just drive. Drop her off and forget this night ever happened.
The rain began to ease, as if the storm had made its point and was now receding.
10 minutes. Then I am done. I'll never speak of it again.
The sedan rolled to a stop in front of a modest house, the porch light a dim beacon in the lingering rain. Before the engine settled, the younger woman was already out, her door thudding shut without a backward glance.
No, thank you. No explanation. She's just gone.
She walked to the front door, key already in hand, and unlocked it in one fluid motion. The door swung inward, and she disappeared into the house. The click of the lock was barely audible over the drizzle.
That's it. The ride's over. But it doesn't feel finished.
Tyler sat paralyzed in the driver's seat, the engine's hum a hollow comfort. The porch light burned steady.
I should drive away. Right now. But my foot won't move.
No light appeared inside the house. No silhouette in the window. Just the porch lamp and the empty street.
Something is deeply wrong. But it's not my problem anymore. Just go.
With a shuddering breath, Tyler forced himself to move. The sedan pulled away from the curb, leaving the house behind.
I could knock. I could ask if she's okay. But that would mean admitting something happened.
He checked the rear-view mirror one last time. The porch light remained on. The house a dark silhouette.
It's not my place. It's just a rideshare. I am just the driver.
He accelerated, the neighborhood sliding past in wet blurs as the rain softened to a fine mist.
Maybe it was a family thing. A switch for some reason. Not my business. But I can't stop seeing them. The older one walking away, the younger one staring.
As he merged onto the main road, the house shrank to a speck in the side mirror.
It's over. It has to be over. But his chest still felt tight.
He drove on into the thinning rain, the night settling around him like a question without an answer. a weight he couldn't shake. Inside his apartment, Tyler sat on the edge of his bed, the silence of the room pressing in. He opened the Rideshare app, scrolling to the night's trip. The details glowed back at him. Pickup at 2:48 a.m. The pickup location read, Ashford and Mercer. He stared at the name, a faint unease blooming.
I've never heard of that intersection. It doesn't sound like a real address, more like a placeholder.
He opened a map app to find it. But before he could type, the phone screen went black, the battery dead. The sudden darkness left him staring at his own reflection in the glass.
That name feels like a loose thread. Pull it, and something might unravel.
He plugged in the phone and fell onto the mattress, but sleep came in shallow, restless waves.
Every time I close my eyes, I see the older woman walking into the rain, the younger one's unblinking stare.
The street name echoed in his mind. Ashford and Mercer. A question he couldn't quiet. A door he didn't know was already open. The next morning, Tyler dragged himself out of bed, the street names still clinging to the edges of his mind.
Ashford and Mercer. Two names that feel like a riddle I didn't ask for.
He mentioned the ride to a friend over lunch, laughing it off as a late-night weirdness.
He said rideshare stories are a dime a dozen, especially after midnight, but I couldn't shake the feeling this was different. Something had been rewritten while I watched.
He spent the afternoon shuttling passengers across the city, each new fare a distraction that didn't stick.
Focus on the road. Smile at the next passenger. Forget the woman with the unblinking eyes. But the younger one's stare kept replacing the faces in my rearview mirror.
A new ride request pinged on his phone. He accepted it mechanically, glad for the forced normalcy.
Yet the question followed him like a second shadow. What really happened on Ashford and Mercer?
2 days later, Tyler opened the Rider app to check his ratings, expecting the usual bland stars. A notification blinked at the top of the screen. A new review for the ride from Ashford and Mercer. The comment read, "Thank you for not asking questions."
She knew. She knew I would obey the silence, and now she's thanking me for it. This isn't a review. It's a signature. She left her mark on my account.
His blood ran cold, the innocuous phrase pressing on his chest like a stone.
Not asking questions was the test. I passed, and she approved.
He put the phone down, but his hand kept shaking. The message seared into his vision.
Whatever happened that night wasn't random. It was deliberate, and I was chosen.
The 5 gold stars glowed on the screen like a quiet, knowing wink from the dark. Tyler immediately opened the trip details, his thumb trembling as he zoomed into the pickup pin.
The map shows a name, but there's nothing here. Just blank space.
Satellite view showed only an overgrown lot, not a single road matching his memory of that night. He typed into the search bar, Ashford and Mercer demolition. The results appeared instantly. Headline: Ashford and Mercer intersection demolished in 2013 for highway expansion. An old black and white photograph loaded. The corner at night, the same streetlight, the same cracked pavement.
That's exactly where I picked her up, but this place hasn't existed for 10 years.
The article confirmed the entire intersection had been razed for a highway extension. There was nothing left.
I drove to a street that doesn't exist. A woman got into my car from nowhere.
The room seemed to tilt, the floor unsteady beneath him. The silence now a deafening roar. The article detailed the demolition in 2013. The intersection flattened for highway lanes that now hummed over the grave of Ashford and Mercer.
I remember the cracks in the pavement, the orange streetlight. That's the exact spot.
He searched for photographs, finding a collection from before the construction. The corner frozen in time. The images matched his memory perfectly. The streetlight, the curb, the faded crosswalk.
I was standing there. I saw that streetlight, but it's been gone for a decade.
One photo showed a construction site with a demolition sign. Rubble where the corner once stood. Another image was a news clipping about the highway expansion. The date 2013 stamped at the top.
This is impossible. There's no explanation that fits. The app still listed it as a valid address. Something is wrong with the system, or with reality. I picked up a woman from a street that doesn't exist.
The evidence left Tyler clutching his phone, the world outside his room suddenly feeling thinner, less solid. He called the rideshare support line, his voice steadier than he felt.
I need to verify the pickup address for a ride last week. Ashford and Mercer.
The representative tapped a keyboard. Looks fine on our end. Ashford and Mercer is listed.
How can it be listed? It's been gone for years. The system is lying.
He pressed further, but the rep remained calm. The address had loaded correctly. No errors.
If I argue, I sound delusional. He'll think I am crazy.
Tyler thanked him and hung up, the dial tone buzzing against his ear. He stared at the trip details again, the ghost intersection still glowing on his screen.
The app still has the old street data. Someone used it to summon a ride from nowhere.
The normalcy felt like a lie now, the edges of reality bending around that missing corner. That night, sleep refused him. Tyler grabbed his keys and drove toward the coordinates of Ashford and Mercer, the GPS pointing to a blank spot on the map. The headlights carved a pale path through a disused access road, ending at a chain-link fence and an overgrown field. He killed the engine and stepped into the thin rain. The lot was exactly where the intersection should have been. Weeds pushed through cracked concrete. The discarded traffic cone lay on its side. No sidewalk, no curb.
I picked her up right here. She stood on nothing and opened my door.
The highway hummed overhead, indifferent. Tyler turned slowly, taking in the desolation. The memory of the streetlight, the cracks in the pavement, felt sharper than the wet ground beneath his feet.
This place hasn't existed for a decade, but I was here 3 nights ago.
The impossible truth soaked through him colder than the rain. The woman had stepped out of a place that didn't exist.
And I let her in. I drove where she asked. I kept the silence she demanded.
He climbed back into the sedan, the engine hum returning, the rain a soft static on the roof.
The whole ride replayed behind my eyes, the silent command, the detour, the younger woman's unblinking stare. The swap wasn't random. The older one knew the younger would replace her. I was just the bridge. That thank you wasn't a reward. It was permission to forget. But I can't.
He had been a vessel for a transaction never meant to be witnessed, and he had asked nothing.
That was the deal. My silence bought their passage. They trusted that, and they were right.
The 2 women were out there somewhere, identical, untraceable. He would never find them.
He wasn't supposed to. The review was the only proof he hadn't imagined it all.
He stared at the wet road ahead, the headlights pushing back the dark, a secret keeper by accident.
He would never speak of this ride. That was the whole point.
He drove toward home, but pulled over before the on-ramp, the brake lights painting the wet pavement red.
I can't keep doing this. Not before dawn. Not anymore.
He opened the driver app settings, scrolling past weekly summaries to the schedule section. The toggle for early morning, 2:05 a.m., stared back at him, a small switch that held all his dread. His finger pressed the toggle. The switch turned gray without a sound, but it felt like a door locking.
That's it. My car doesn't exist before 5 a.m. Not to them.
He stared at the screen longer than necessary, as if waiting for the app to protest. Then he placed the phone in the mount, the screen showing the quiet dark of the road ahead. He released the brake and merged into the empty, late-night highway, the brake lights glowing one last time before the on-ramp swallowed him.
Some corners are better left for daylight.
The rain eased to a fine mist as he turned onto the residential streets that led toward home. He passed a corner with a single streetlight, the pavement wet and empty, and slowed without meaning to. But beneath the light, a figure stood, a dark coat, a motionless posture that could have been carved from stone.
Not again. It's nothing. Just someone waiting for a ride.
His foot crushed the accelerator. the sedan surging forward as if it too wanted to flee. In the rear view, the figure remained, a black stain on the glass that didn't wave, didn't turn, just watched.
It wasn't her. It couldn't be. But the resemblance was enough.
He took the next turn without signaling, tires squealing, desperate to put distance between himself and that corner. The rain returned in a sudden sheet, blurring the world and mercifully erasing the mirror. By the time he reached his apartment and killed the engine, the figure had become just another shadow, one he would carry into the dark of his room every night. Weeks passed, and Tyler rebuilt his schedule around the daylight hours, a quiet curfew he never spoke aloud. Each morning, he walked to his car under a pale sky, grateful for the absence of streetlight orange.
Never again before 5. That's the line. That's all it takes to keep the door closed.
The memory of the dark driveway resurfaced in idle moments, a scene his mind refused to archive.
I still see her sometimes. The older one, standing in the rain like a statue.
He never mentioned the ride to anyone else, guarding the secret like a scar hidden beneath a sleeve.
Who would believe it? A ghost street, a swap, a thank you note from nowhere.
The rides kept coming, and he kept driving, but a part of him remained on that missing corner, forever waiting. When the clock struck 3, he was home now, the sedan dark, the app silent.
It was enough. He hoped it would stay enough.
The city slept, but Tyler drove on, his sedan a lone pulse of red against the endless dark. At a forgotten intersection, his brake lights briefly cast that familiar, sickly glow. The corner was empty, the streetlight buzzing overhead, the rain pooling in the cracked asphalt. He didn't stop, didn't slow. He knew what lived in those hours now. As the first hints of dawn bled into the sky, the world felt scrubbed clean, but the memory clung. Some fares aren't meant to be understood. Some corners are better left behind. He pressed the accelerator, and the night swallowed the sedan whole. When the clock passed midnight, Tyler was already home, the app dark, the streets silent. He kept driving, but he never forgot. Some streets only exist when you are not looking, and some passengers never really leave your car.